Hello, Internet. It's time to read the Bible. Picking up with May 2nd's reading. We'll be starting in Judges chapter 15, verse 1 to chapter 16, verse 31. Let's see. Who do I want? I was going to. We'll just go with my original instinct, which was David Attenborough. Later on, during the wheat harvest, Samson took a young goat as a present to his wife, intending to sleep with her, but her father wouldn't let him. "I really thought you hated her," he explained, "so I married her to your best man. But look, her sister is prettier than she is. Marry her instead." Samson was furious. "You can't blame me for whatever happens now," he shouted. So he went out and caught 300 foxes and tied their tails together in pairs, with a torch between each pair. Then he lit the torches and let the foxes run through the fields of the Philistines, burning the grain to the ground, along with all the sheaves and shocks of grain, and destroying the olive trees. "Who did this?" the Philistines demanded. "Samson," was the reply. "Because his wife's father gave her to another man." So the Philistines came and got the girl and her father and burned them alive. "Now my vengeance will strike again," Samson vowed. So he attacked them with great fury and killed many of them. Then he went to live in a cave in the rock of Etam. The Philistines, in turn, sent a huge posse into Judah and raided Lehi. "Why have you come here?" the men of Judah asked. And the Philistines replied, "To capture Samson and do to him as he has done to us." So 3,000 men of Judah went down to get Samson at the cave in the rock of Etam. What are you doing to us?" they demanded of him. "Don't you realize that the Philistines are our rulers?" But Samson replied, "I only paid them back for what they did to me." "We have come to capture you and take you to the Philistines," the men of Judah told him. "All right," Samson said, "but promise me that you won't kill me yourselves." "No," they replied, "we won't do that." So they tied him with 2 new ropes and led him away. As Samson and his captors arrived at Lehi, the Philistines shouted with glee. But then the strength of the Lord came upon Samson, and the ropes which he was tied snapped like thread and fell from his wrists. Then he picked up a donkey's jawbone that was lying on the ground and killed 1,000 Philistines with it. Tossing it away, he remarked, "Heaps upon heaps, all with a donkey's jaw. I've killed 1,000 men, all with a donkey's jaw." The place has been called Jawbone Hill ever since. But now he was very thirsty, and he prayed to the Lord and said, "You have given Israel such a wonderful deliverance through me today. Must I now die of thirst and fall to the mercy of these heathen?" So the Lord caused water to gush out from a hollow in the ground, and Samson's spirit was revived as he drank. Then he named the place the Spring of the Man Who Prayed, and the spring is still there today. Samson was Israel's leader for the next 20 years, but the Philistines still controlled the land. One day, Samson went to the Philistine city of Gaza and spent the night with a prostitute. Word soon spread that he had been seen in the city, so the police were alerted, and many men of the city lay in wait all night at the city gate to capture him if he tried to leave. In the morning, they thought, when there is enough light, we'll find him and kill him. Samson stayed in bed with the girl until midnight. Then he went out to the city gates and lifted them with the 2 gateposts right out of the ground. He put them on his shoulders and carried them to the top of the mountain across from Hebron. Later on, he fell in love with a girl named Delilah over in the valley of Sorek. The 5 heads of the Philistine nation went personally to her and demanded that she find out from Samson what made him so strong, so that they would know how to overpower and subdue him and put him in chains. "Each of us will give you $1,000 for this job," they promised. So Delilah begged Samson to tell her his secret. "Please, tell me, Samson, why are you so strong?" she pleaded. "I don't think anyone could ever capture you." "Well," Samson replied, "if I were tied with 7 raw leather bowstrings, I would become weak as anyone else. So they brought her the 7 bowstrings, and while she slept, she tied him with them. Some men were hiding in the next room. So as soon as she had tied him up, she exclaimed, "Samson, the Philistines are here." Then he snapped the bowstrings like cotton thread, and so his secret was not discovered. Afterward, Delilah said to him, You are making fun of me. You told me a lie. Please, tell me how you can be captured." "Well," he said, "if I am tied with brand new ropes, which have never been used, I will be as weak as other men." So that time, as he slept, Delilah took new ropes and tied him with them. The men were hiding in the next room, as before. Again Delilah exclaimed, "Samson, the Philistines have come to capture you." But he broke the ropes from his arms like spider webs. "You have mocked me again." "You have mocked me again and told me more lies," Delilah complained. "Now tell me how you can really be captured." "Well," he said, "if you weave my hair into your loom." So while he slept, she did just that, and then screamed, "The Philistines have come, Samson." And he woke up and yanked his hair away, breaking the loom. "How can you say you love me when you don't confide in me?" she whined. "You've made fun of me 3 times now, and you still haven't told me what makes you so strong." He's not a very bright person, is he? After all, he told Delilah 3 different lies that were all supposedly his weakness, and each time that specific weakness was exploited and proven false. Perhaps what happened next was he didn't realize that his hair actually was his weakness. He was just making things up. That is my personal theory. That, or he is quite possibly the stupidest man to have ever lived. Both reasonable assumptions. Let us continue. She nagged at him every day until he couldn't stand it any longer, and finally told her his secret. "My hair has never been cut," he confessed, "for I've been a Nazarite to God since before my birth. If my hair were cut, my strength would leave me, and I would become as weak as anyone else." As I said, I personally believe he thought he was lying. But in fact, his lie was the truth, and thus tragedy ensues. Delilah realized that he had finally told her the truth, so she sent for the 5 Philistine leaders. "Come, just this once more," she said, "for this time he has told me everything." So they brought the money with them. She lulled him to sleep with his head in her lap, and they brought in a barber and cut off his hair. Delilah began to hit him, but she could see that his strength was leaving him. Then she screamed, "The Philistines are here to capture you, Samson." And he woke up and thought, "I will do as before. I'll just shake myself free." But he didn't realize that the Lord had left him. So the Philistines captured him and gouged out his eyes and took him to Gaza, where he was bound with bronze chains and made to grind grain in their prison. But before long, his hair began to grow again. The Philistine leaders declared a great festival to celebrate the capture of Samson. The people made sacrifices to their god, Dagon, and excitedly praised him. "Our God has delivered our enemy Samson to us," they gloated, as they saw him there in chains. "The scourge of our nation, who killed so many of us, is now in our power." Half drunk by now, the people demanded, "Bring out Samson, so we can have some fun with him." He was brought from the prison and made to stand at the center of the temple, between the 2 pillars supporting the roof. Samson said to the boy, who was leading him by the hand, "Place my hands against the 2 pillars. I want to rest against them." By then the temple was completely filled with people. The 5 Philistine leaders were there, as well as 3,000 people in the balconies who were watching Samson and making fun of him. Then Samson prayed to the Lord and said, "O Lord Jehovah, remember me again. Please strengthen me one more time, so that I may pay back the Philistines for the loss of at least one of my eyes." Then Samson pushed against the pillars with all his might. "Let me die with the Philistines," he prayed. And the temple crashed down upon the Philistine leaders and all the people. So those he killed at the moment of his death were more than those he had killed during his entire lifetime. Later, his brothers and other relatives came down to get his body, and they brought him back home and buried him between Zorath and Eshtaol, where his father, Manoah, was buried. He had led Israel for 20 years. Now we move on to John chapter 2, verses 1 through 25. 2 days later, Jesus' mother was a guest at a wedding in the village of Cana in Galilee, and Jesus and his disciples were invited too. The wine supply ran out during the festivities, and Jesus' mother came to him with a problem. "I can't help you now," he said. "It isn't yet my time for miracles." But his mother told the servants, "Do whatever he tells you to." 6 stone water pots were standing there. They were used for Jewish ceremonial purposes, and held perhaps 20 to 30 gallons each. Then Jesus told the servants to fill them to the brim with water. When this was done, he said, "Dip some out and take it to the master of ceremonies." When the master of ceremonies tasted the water that was now wine, not knowing where it had come from, he thought, though he, of course, I'm sorry, my brain skipped a line. Not knowing where it had come from, though of course the servants did, he called the bridegroom over. "This is wonderful stuff," he said. "You're different from most. Usually, a host uses the best wine first, and afterwards, when everyone is full and doesn't care, then he brings out the less expensive brands. But you have kept the best for last." This miracle at Cana in Galilee was Jesus' first public demonstration of his heavens and power, and his disciples believed that he really was the Messiah. After the wedding, he left for Capernaum for a few days with his mother, brothers, and disciples. Then it was time for the annual Jewish Passover celebration, and Jesus went to Jerusalem. In the temple area, he saw merchants selling cattle, sheep, and doves for sacrifices, and money changers behind the counters. Jesus made a whip from some ropes and chased them all out, and drove out the sheep and oxen, scattering the money changers' coins over the floor and turning over the tables. Then going over to the men selling doves, he told them, "Get these things out of here. Don't turn my Father's house into a market." Minor points. In most translations I have read before, he does not say market. He says den of thieves, unless this is another incident where there's some difference between the books that I don't recall. But the main bit of the story remains. He got quite upset and drove everyone out of the temple. Continuing on. Then his disciples remembered this prophecy from the scriptures. "Concern for God's house will be my undoing." "What right have you to order them out?" the Jewish leaders demanded. "If you have this authority from God, show us a miracle to prove it." "All right," Jesus replied. "This is the miracle I will do for you. Destroy this sanctuary, and in 3 days I will raise it up." "What?" they exclaimed. "It took 46 years to build this temple, and you could do it in 3 days." But by this sanctuary, he meant his body. After he came back to life again, the disciples remembered his saying this and realized that what he had quoted from the scriptures really did refer to him and had all come true. Because of the miracles he did in Jerusalem at the Passover celebration, many people were convinced that he was indeed the Messiah. But Jesus didn't trust them, for he knew mankind to the core. No one needed to tell him how changeable human nature is. We now move on to Psalms chapter 103, verses 1 through 22. "I bless the holy name of God with all my heart. Yes, I bless the Lord and not forget the glorious things he does for me. He forgives all my sins. He heals me. He ransoms me from hell. He surrounds me with loving kindness and tender mercies. He fills my life with good things. My youth is renewed like the eagles. He gives justice to all who are treated unfairly. He revealed his will and nature to Moses and the people of Israel. He is merciful and tender toward those who don't deserve it. He is slow to get angry and full of kindness and love. He never bears a grudge, nor remains angry forever. He has not punished us as we deserve for all our sins, For his mercy toward those who fear and honor him is as great as the height of the heavens above the earth. He has removed our sins as far away from us as the east is from the west. He is like a father to us, tender and sympathetic to those who reverence him. For he knows we are but dust, and that our days are few and brief, like grass, like flowers, blown by the wind and gone forever. But the loving kindness of the Lord is from everlasting to those who reverence him. His salvation is to children's children of those who are faithful to his covenant and remember to obey him. The Lord has made the heavens his home. My brain said home, but the word was thrown, and so it became a muddled word. I apologize. Let me read that line again. The Lord has made the heavens his throne. From there he rules over everything there is. Bless the Lord, you mighty angels of his who carry out his orders, listening for each of his commands. Yes, bless the Lord, you armies of his angels who serve him constantly. Let everything, everywhere bless the Lord, and how I bless him too. And finally, for today, we have Proverbs chapter 14, verses 17 through 19. A short-tempered man is a fool. He hates the man who is patient. The simpleton is crowned with folly. The wise man is crowned with knowledge. Evil men shall bow before the godly. Oh no, I didn't put in the bookmark. Just a moment. May 2nd, I believe. I apologize for this. If I had editing software, I would edit it out. There we go. I found my place. I didn't want to lose it. Anyway, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed and were enriched in some manner by this reading. And as always, God bless.